talk about our next scheduled meetings, I think the hard part is we're going to need to work really hard because until we know if we have any additional time, we've got to get this done. So we can address that when we get down there. But we're going to have to do it.
Yep. So that means meetings all the time, for at least 120 days. Any other questions on the timeline established under the agreements? So the next thing on the agenda is discussion of the requirements of the Arkansas Administrative Procedures Act and rulemaking process.
I'd move that Mr. Could help us understand that completely.
Yes.
I would not begin to say I could help you understand it completely, but I can certainly help guide you through the next process that you have to take in regard to the Administrative Procedures Act. The basic components that we need to pay attention to are in the adoption of rules and what the APA requires. I mentioned already there is a timeline involved. You must have at least 30 days of public notice in which the public may offer comment. That is particularly important because it also allows the public to request a public hearing to verbally give their concerns, comments, or other information to this body. The requirements for that are if at least 25 individuals makes a request for a public hearing component for public comment. Additionally, the APA, I believe it was mentioned earlier, there was some concern to ensure that we are using a valid, science-based, factually based reasoning in these rules. The APA commends that upon you to use sound reasoning and to do it in the most efficient way possible. The rules, the draft rules that you have been provided were prepared because of those timelines. When the APA is coupled with that 120-day requirement, starting from complete scratch for this commission would have been a truly daunting task. And DFA prepared those draft rules to show you a basic framework you can choose to work with or without, to be able to add to, subtract to, but not have to start from scratch. The Administrative Procedures Act allows the public to have a voice in this, and it gives them notice of the intended rules prior to their adoption. This occurs at the same time now as the legislature receives their notification of the intended rules. A legislative body must now approve all rules prior to them going into effect. During a General Assembly, that is the Administrative Rules Subcommittee of the Joint Budget Committee. Outside of a session, then it goes to the Arkansas Legislative Council. They both require at least 30 days prior notice, and so when you let a rule out for public comment, you also will tend to inform that committee, these are the rules we're putting out for public comment so they can approve them at a later meeting.
So those would happen, those are running down the same parallel tracks, correct? 30 days, 30 days.
Correct.
At the end of that 30 days, we've obviously received public comment, and you know, we may say, "Oh, that's a great idea," and want to adopt something. From the legislator's side, will they give us comments as well? Will they?
You can anticipate a hearing in person before that committee with regard to those rules prior to their adoption or acceptance of those rules.
So, for example, we talked earlier about number of facilities. Now, does the public comment on it?
Yes, the public
so
will.
Put the commission discussed at their second meeting that they will have 5 cultivation facilities to start, and that is put out as a rule?
When the draft rules are ready for public comment, I would envision, based on the discussion right now, tentatively, Arkansas shall establish 5 cultivation facilities, one of which shall be located in each of the 5 public health sectors of the state, would be a component of the rule, which would then include what requirements applicants would need to demonstrate to be able to operate one. And that, as part of the rule, would be open to public comment. If people think that it should be fewer than 5, or if people think that all 8 should be part of the initial offering, they'll have that opportunity to say that and say why, and provide the basis for it.
Because once that's established, then we'll need to talk about license required and make all of those different rules and regulations.
Yes, ma'am. And a good chunk, we have, like I said, we provided what we did to you to show you 1 or 2 ways. There are several spots you may notice they have alternative options in there, because those policy decisions are yours to make. But we wanted to show you where they would go, how that would be structured, what sort of things we initially thought might need to be looked at for a dispensary or cultivation facility, so that you have some idea based on those.
After that public comment period and after the hearing before the joint budget committee, we're basically trying to build in a little bit of time for us to come back to say, here's what we've heard, here's what the input we've got, and then go ahead and try to make any of those changes to the rules before they're finally adopted.
January 23rd, I believe, would give you 2 weeks at the conclusion of 30 days prior to March 9th, so that you would have a 2-week period with which to review, incorporate, and address issues raised in that 30-day public comment period prior to submission to the Arkansas Register for formal adoption.